Each year, tens of millions of people flock to major airports across the country. It is estimated that 70% of commercial airline passengers are funneled through 30 hub airports in the U.S. This lopsided statistic has resulted in countless flight delays, lost luggage, and a general negative attitude toward air travel. Many travelers, particularly those traveling on business, are discovering the advantages of flying via the overlooked option of general aviation. Over 145 million people opt for general aviation each year because it's faster, more affordable, even safer than flying commercially. In fact, general aviation is one of the safest modes of transportation in the world, safer even than driving.
General aviation is very safe. Your odds of getting in a car accident are many times greater than getting in an accident in a light airplane. The training requirements for pilots are much greater than that for vehicles as well. Most pilots have a lot of training, initial training, and have to be recurrent training every 2 years. Also, insurance companies make many pilots to keep their insurance go through recurrence training every 6 months some. So I feel much safer actually flying in a general aviation airplane than I do driving to work.
John Pellant is co-founder of a unique concept called flyshare, a community of pilots and travelers brought together by one common passion: flying. Flyshare.com acts as an online matchmaker, pairing up pilots and passengers who are going to the same destination, both sharing the cost of the flight. Through this symbiotic relationship, pilots can take on passengers and reduce their operating costs, while passengers can enjoy more flexible flight plans, more convenient destinations, and an overall faster travel time at a substantial savings.
General aviation is much more convenient than commercial aviation, primarily because general aviation pilots have access to so many more airports than do most commercial lines. There are, in the United States, 6,000 public use airports that general aviation pilots have access to. Most commercial airlines only service around 600 of those airports. So it's very convenient to get into rural areas because you can find an airport closer than one that the commercial airlines service. Also, the schedule, in a general aviation, you can leave when you want, you can arrive when you want, you can even change your plans mid-flight, say if you wanted to stop for dinner or something. Cost is another factor of convenience. When flying commercially, if you're flying to an airport only serviced by 1 or 2 commercial airlines, they can really charge you what the market will bear there.
Currently, there are over 1 million registered pilots in the United States. Over 250,000 are private pilots. Many of these pilots are registered with flyshare and are included in a database that includes pilots from all 50 states and the District of Columbia. Let's look at a typical trip from Boston to Martha's Vineyard. It would take about 8 hours to drive from Boston to Martha's Vineyard. Flying by commercial airliner would be substantially faster, about 40 minutes. However, the cost would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $140. Booked on a general aviation flight through flyshare, the cost of this trip would be about 1/3 of the cost of a commercial plane ticket.
By law, private pilots can't actually charge you for the flight. They can only share their operating cost with you. Typical operating cost really depends on the type of aircraft that's being used and can range anywhere from $50 an hour to $150 an hour. It's up to the passenger and the pilot to negotiate how much of the cost is actually going to be shared. For example, a typical flight from Bedford to Nantucket is 42 minutes, so at a 50-50 split on the cost, that flight could cost the passenger anywhere from $25 to $75. This trip would normally take 6 hours by car.
After registering with flyshare, it's easy to place a listing for a new trip online. And regardless of whether or not you're a member, you can search for a trip by entering the information on where you want to go. At any given time, flyshare has over 500 active trips posted on their website. So, what's next for this innovative company?
Flyshare is a relatively new concept. It's absolutely free for both the pilots and the passengers, and we intend to keep it that way. Since the launch in early 2004, just based on word-of-mouth marketing, we have received a tremendous response from both the pilots and passengers. Being a very small company, we're constrained by our very limited budget, but our 2005 and going forward plan is to launch marketing campaigns to reach out to larger part of the population. We're also very close to having portals for charter planes as well as private jets, so we want to extend our services to them. We view ourselves as Expedia or Orbitz of general aviation, and we believe that in 5 years period of time, commercial and general aviation is going to overlap, and flyshare is there to facilitate that transition.
Whether you're a licensed pilot looking for a traveling companion or a traveler looking for a quick, convenient, and affordable option to commercial air travel, please visit www.flyshare.com. For any other flyshare company information, you can call toll-free at 888-693-5294.